bem-vindos a mais um episódio de Vozes Portuguesas. Desta vez iremos falar com Steve Miranda, do Sul da Califórnia, continuar uma pequena conversa com o padre Manuel Sousa, e uma entrevista histórica com o nosso Diácono Vitor Silveira e a sua esposa Carmina. Espero que gostem. Today in this episode of Portuguese Voices, we are going to have a conversation with Steve Miranda from the southern part of California, another conversation or short one with Father Manuel Sousa, and a historical conversation that I had a good number of years ago with our Deacon Vitor Silveira and his wife Carmina Silveira. I hope that you enjoy it. And if you enjoy it, click like and follow Portuguese Voices. Espero que gostem e se gostarem, carreguem no botão like no Facebook or follow the Portuguese Voices. O pensamento da semana. Talk and play with children. It will bring out the unhurried little person inside you. E agora em português. Conversa e brinca com as crianças. Isto vai trazer à superfície a pequena criança sem pressas que existe dentro de nós. E no fundo é um convite a reconhecermos sempre a criança que existe entre nós, a parte, podemos dizer, brincalhona, ou a parte que nos leva a viver a vida sem olharmos para o relógio, nos leva a relacionar com os outros com a simplicidade de uma criança. And this is an invitation in this little thought to be connected with our inner child that we all have, which allow us to be truthful, allow us to be open, allow us to trust others, allow us to be engaged with this world that we live in. So, good afternoon, Steve Miranda. Here we are speaking about the Portuguese culture, in this case in California, where you are from. So can you tell us just where you are from and where your parents came from, and a little about your Portuguese roots?
Well, sure. Well, first of all, thank you for the invite, Padre Luigi. I really appreciate the interest and the curiosity of me and my family and my Portuguese roots. Yes, I'm the oldest son of a Portuguese family who immigrated in their teens to the United States. My father is from the Azores Islands, da Ilha Terceira, da freguesia de São Bento, nasceu lá, viveu lá para 19 anos, então emigrou com a sua família para os Estados Unidos. He came to the Central Valley here in California. My mother as well is, she's the oldest daughter of 7 children. At the time it was 6, plus my grandmother was pregnant, also came when she was 14 years old, immigrated from the Ilha Terceira as well. She came over from Reirinha, there in no condado da Praia da Vitória. She came as well in her teens. They made a new life for themselves, also in the Central Valley, but then moved to what today is known as, what was at the time was Dairy Valley, Artesia, California, and worked all their lives pretty much in the agricultural industry. My grandfather, to this day, as a young child, my grandfather seen him in the yard doing, growing his trees, fruit trees, planting favas, and those types of things are my memories of him, growing up, and then being very close to my family who was back also in Nesta, because we had distant relatives there that we always kept contact with. My father, on the other hand, when he worked, my grandfather was a police officer there in Angra, but my dad, growing up, actually was he was employed in the Gestão de Aviação, but it was the bus. At the time it was the bus company, but they sold a lot of auto parts. So he was like the counter boy. You know, he was kind of getting groomed to do that kind of work. And then when they had opportunity to come to this country, they came, and he went into what at the time what the opportunities were here in this country was in the agricultural. There's a lot of Portuguese involved with that, and so he became a dairyman and provided for the family. But it was a change for my dad. I'll be honest with you. He did have to learn a lot, and you know, from working on the counter in a tie to come and work in the fields and in the dairy industry was a bit of a change. But it provided for the family, and it gave the opportunities that they were really looking forward to do what they had to do. Ironically, they met here in California, my mom and my dad in their festivals that would go around in the valley, you know. And then my mother and her family came to Artesia. Interesting, ironically, it was through connections with a past relative who had worked in the States, had made a little bit of money, went back. It was actually my grandmother's brother at the time. And he had written a letter to this former boss in Artesia, said, "Hey, I have a sister out there. They have a family of 7, two strapping young boys ready to work the industry." And they went and actually asked for them to come out to Artesia. And then they really started their life here in California and built what they have today. My grandfather, it was funny, as I grow up and you start understanding more about life and bringing fortune to your parents and trying to build something for yourself. My boy always had the desire to want to go back with a little bit of money and just start over again back in the islands. But ironically, your kids grow up. As I was saying, my grandmother came pregnant with my youngest uncle, who was 10 years difference than me. And most of them, got married here. Well, eventually got married here, started their own lives here. So my grandfather said, "Hey, well, at the end of the day, why am I going to go back and leave my whole family, here in the States?" So he ended up staying here. Some of my childhood memories actually are going back when I graduated from high school. At that time, my grandfather and grandmother spent 2 years in Nesta. And I had the opportunity to go back, walk the streets. Almost felt like a piece of me was there, to be honest with you. I was born, I kind of skipped me. I was born here in the United States in 1974. But we always connected, with the Portuguese Halls, in Artesia and stuff. You always had that little bit of connection. I'm also the oldest of 4 boys here. And so the Portuguese was my first language. And I occasionally like to try and stick, my Portuguese in the middle of conversation to kind of keep it going. But English is my native tongue in terms of how I express myself well and to get my points across. But that's...
So
I'm sorry?
In summary, we can say that you are a good example, let's say, of a lot of people from your age of Portuguese descendants. So you are like a first generation of Portuguese descendants being born in California, but with your family coming with roots in Portugal. And what is interesting in terms of the Portuguese, the way that you are describing your family is like somehow very similar to many other families. They came and they work in agriculture. Even Artesia, when I see the pictures from 1950s to 1960s, it was surrounded by dairy business. So it means all Cerritos area, which means the town or the city around Artesia, was all dairy business around it. We go to Central Valley, we see dairy business. We go to San Diego, we see people, the Portuguese, working in fishing. And so those are the type of work that they brought up, which because they heard the bells in Portugal and they left whatever they were working in agriculture and they went to the boats to fish the whales. It was the call. So people were accustomed to do both. And now you've been born here in California. One thing I noticed, and you had opportunity with you to visit SpaceX, which is this company that develops all these rockets to go to different parts of the world. When I say world, it's not just the Earth, but it's beyond the Earth. And so you gave us a tour there. So can you tell us, basically, it's almost like you are embodying a new expression, a new type of work coming from the Portuguese traditions, and now you work in the space industry.
Yeah, no, I've as a young boy growing up, NASA and the space shuttle program made a big impact in my life. I remember the Challenger disaster that happened. I was in 6th grade, and I remember being in the classroom. They were going to send the first teacher up there, and I remember in the classroom, and we're all excited to see that. And then that big tragedy occurred where we lost the Challenger. It was weird. It was a very interesting time. I was always a student that loved mathematics. I loved sciences. And though it was a disaster, it really fueled something in me to want to go in that industry, to understand flight, to understand manufacturing, you know what I mean? And understand maybe the causes of what could do that. How can we make it better at that time? At that time, I didn't understand it. It was more just, hey, I love to see that. I want to do that. So as I grew up, that became, you grow up and you look for opportunities, you change a little bit, you look at, what you like, your interests, but that little seed was always there. And then I graduated high school, went to work, that's kind of the blue collar in us and in my family, and working hard, being in the fields. We know, even though I had the gift to go to school, I still kind of wanted to work. I worked for a while. I got my degree late in life. But I worked in the manufacturing industry for many years, and then had the opportunity in 2008, finally graduated with a mechanical engineering degree. And at that time, Boeing was pretty much the place to work, for the aeronautical industry. I mean, Southern California was such a hotbed. It still is today, a very lucrative technical location for aerospace. The first capsules Apollo were built in Downey. Saturn V rocket, the second stage was built in Seal Beach. So this area that I live in is very still rich in aerospace industry, even though it's gone away to a lot of different places. But that's a great thing. It's helped flourish throughout the country in many different locations. But there's still that base knowledge of it. Unfortunately, in 2008, it was pretty tough. Industry was going through some hard times. I had a hard time getting a job where I was at to move on. I was a product engineer with a fastening company at the time. I wanted to move on to Boeing. Boeing just didn't have any openings. So, hey, I had to settle a little bit. And then all of a sudden, this company, SpaceX, comes up. A friend calls me up, says, "Hey, why don't you come on work over with SpaceX? No one knows this yet, but one of these days, everybody's gonna know who SpaceX is." And I'm like, "Wow, let me just go check it out." So I took a leap of faith, and we went. Wound up being the best thing I ever did for myself in terms of my professional career and things like that. At the time, it was actually kind of me stepping out of my comfort zone in terms of my technical ability. I currently am a test engineer there at SpaceX, and it's been a learning curve. I gotta say, we used to have a saying that there's so much going on, you're almost drinking out of a fire hose trying to understand everything that was going on around you. Not only the basic concept that my boss Elon Musk was trying to put out there and saying that, hey, we're going to colonize Mars and we're going to, do it in steps, but it's been a great adventure, and I'm there, and hopefully, quite a few more years, I can stay there and do some good things for Elon and the whole mission to colonize Mars.
So one of the things that I notice when I visit SpaceX with you and at the tour, which was kind of a completely eye-opening. Many times I've been passing around that building in Hawthorne and looking at the building, not even conceiving what potentially could be inside. And when I enter, I was like in awe, like to see the rockets, to see the motors, to see everyone building something that we knew that potentially could be in space, millions of miles away from us. And I was so in awe, and in my first reflection right away, I felt like potentially what it could have been when the Portuguese first said, we are going to go across the Cape of das Tormentas, o Cabo das Tormentas, that later on became Cabo da Boa Esperança, Cape of Good Hope. This profound sense of going around universe is an experience that we never know what could be happening the next day. And even the sailors will be leaving and the wives will be saying goodbye to them, mostly thinking about this is saying goodbye for life, not knowing when they'll be returning. And hearing you speak about Mars and the rockets, and at the same time they were like building the capsule for the astronauts that now they just returned from the space station, and looking at all that, and for me it was, my God, this is like we are experienced like 4 or 5 centuries later, something similar. It's like exploring new worlds, not knowing what will happen. People will go to Mars, and in 5 months, are they going to be able to return? They hope to be able to refuel and to get the oxygen and all that they need to put it back and come back. But at the same time, you reflected that sense of exploration. Can you tell us your personal take on that?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's to every civilization, or to every person, the sense of opportunity, the sense of closeness is all relative to technology and innovation. And SpaceX is a company of innovation. And Elon Musk tells us that all the time. He wants to push the envelope of innovation, but at the same time, a lot of that technology is just one generation helping another, and just building and continuously building upon that. As you said, I take great pride in my Portuguese heritage, and some of the greatest stories, like we discussed a little bit, are, the age of discovery, and how influential the Portuguese scholars and Portuguese aristocrats who born Prince Henry the Navigator and all that stuff, being able to take those basic sciences and add to that to a point where they built the best, sea-bearing ship, the Caravella at the time to come. I've always wondered how that must have felt. And all of a sudden, day one comes up and I go into SpaceX, and I'm part of a group that is testing these vehicles. I'm going, wow. It just hit me like a ton of bricks going, wow, I've read this in so many books. I've studied this in so many things. I'm actually a descendant of generations of people who worked on those types of things to cross the Atlantic Ocean, or to discover new territories that were never known before, at least to the European community. And then also all of a sudden be a member of of humanity here on Earth, saying, hey, we've kind of pretty much turned every stone on Earth. What's next? And other than looking at the stars and seeing what's beyond that, I can only imagine that was Prince Henry there in Sagres looking over the ocean, going, with this compass, I'm gonna get somewhere. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Or we're gonna see something different. He never really voyaged much, but many Portuguese, I'm sure, did, and many of the discoverers like Magellan and stuff like that who went around. So yeah, it definitely gives you perspective to as a young man who hears that, and all of a sudden you see a successful Dragon mission, go up there, deliver people to the space station, and they come down, and you had a small little part of getting that done. It truly gives you a sense of accomplishment, and then also the accomplishment that those people in those centuries ago, with simple tools, and us with our high sciences and printing a capability of metal and those types of things, which we've excelled to do things and put this beautiful ship together, an assembly to accomplish those things. We've accomplished several missions in SpaceX, with the whole, the crew vehicle now we're able to launch American astronauts from American soil to low Earth orbit to do work on the space station. So I'm very proud of being part of that group, that team at SpaceX, along with many 5,000 strong people who have done such a great opportunity. And then just seeing the connection I have with those who have in the age of discovery, it's pretty awesome. Pretty awesome.
So if tomorrow you receive an email from Elon Musk inviting you to be part of the crew going to Mars, you'll do it.
It's funny. I'd love to do it, but the problem with me at the sight of blood or giving blood, I faint. So I can only imagine. And if I go through that training, what's going to happen to me? I have such I say that with great sadness, because I wish my physical body could take that, I guess, but I have a feeling that through some of the physical stuff, I'm going to flunk, unfortunately, but I'm going to try as hard as I can to make that ship successful, and then make sure that it's able to sustain life, as I've done for some of the programs that I've been involved with. Yeah.
Steve, thank you very much. It was wonderful to have you and have this wonderful conversation about, in certain ways, it's like connecting the dots in the Portuguese roots and traditions between the past, the present, and the future. And in certain ways, you are linking all of them in your personal experience right now, living here in LA, in this area.
Exactly. And like you said, we in this day and age, in the realm of discovery, it's amazing how everybody with different backgrounds gives their bit of knowledge, their bit of experience, their bit of enthusiasm, to keep this growing, this dream alive. We're so lucky to have a leader like Elon Musk who is so passionate, who's so driven to do something for the good of mankind, and all of his companies that he started. I mean, from Tesla and the making the electric car, something that's so attainable and so worthwhile of having, to his energy company, which started off as Solar City, but has gone through its course of thing, but still continuing on with its mission to produce energy or renewable energy for society. And then you bring us in there, SpaceX, who is to make life multiplanetary, and I think he truly embodies that passion, and he gives that to everyone that he sees. He also shows a great sense of being human, to us as well, and I love that, and I love that he does that. He's very open with SpaceX and a lot of things that we do. Of course, it's an aerospace company. It's got a lot of things it's got to maintain proprietary to itself, which we respect and we do and stuff like that. But the passion to get there and to succeed comes from so many avenues, so many cultures, so much diversity, and it's beautiful to see it all take place and shape in one place. It's pretty awesome.
There is a document that Pope Francis wrote called, an encyclical document called Laudato Si, the care of our common home. And that document, so many ways, reflects this profound sense of caring for the environment, recognizing that we are all interconnected, interdependent. And I look to that, and I look to the missions of SpaceX, I look to the mission and statement from Tesla, and all that is there, in certain ways, reflects and resembles so much what is in Laudato Si. So let's continue this wonderful reflection, what it means to care for our common home. And our common home, if they're not well taken care of, which is the Earth, in many ways, we need to go to Mars, because we need not just for the sense of exploring, but of a sense of surviving. But for now, we are still living this wonderful home that we call Earth. Thank you very much, Steve, for all this wonderful conversation, and see you soon.
My pleasure. Thank you so much. Take care.
Muito obrigado. Adeus.
Nada. Sempre às ordens.
Bom, eu gosto de lembrar uma história que eu vi há muitos anos. O Dom Guilherme foi bispo dos Açores, até creio nos anos 50. E conta-se que ele, quando estava já nos últimos anos, estava um bocadinho senil, estava um bocadinho já atordoado pela idade, e às vezes pregava muito tempo. Parece que chegava a pregar 1 hora, 2 horas, e as pessoas ficavam cansadas, alguns até iam para a rua, naquele tempo fumava-se, os homens iam para a rua fumar e depois voltavam quando ele acabasse de pregar. E um dia as senhoras parece que iam a casa pôr a comida ao lombo para terem o caldo feito quando chegassem. E um dia ele, quando pregava, olhava sempre à mesma pessoa, e estava ele a pregar olhando para a mesma pessoa, e depois de 2 horas ele olhou para o relógio e disse: não pode ser, eu estou pregando há 2 horas, eu peço desculpa, o senhor deve gostar muito da palavra de Deus para estar aqui a ouvir-me 2 horas. E o homem disse: gostar da palavra de Deus? roubaram-me foi as muletas.
Portanto, foi a única pessoa que ficou na igreja, foi? Muito obrigado, Padre José.
O meu nome é Vitor Silveira, eu nasci na Ilha do Faial, da freguesia da Nossa Senhora das Angústias, e vim para os Estados Unidos com a idade de 27 anos, casado com a Carmina. Tínhamos já 2 filhos, a Graça, a Maria da Graça e o Luís Carlos, um com 5 anos e outro com 4 anos. Foi assim, a partir do tempo de logo que saí da tropa, pouco tempo depois, como vem, tinha 27 anos, resolvemos vir para os Estados Unidos, para a terra onde se ouvia que era a terra da oportunidade.
Meu nome é Carmina Silveira, nasci na freguesia dos Flamengos, na Ilha do Faial, Açores. Eu, como o Vitor acaba de dizer, viemos casados com 2 filhos, com 2 malas nas mãos e $200. Foi tudo quanto nós trouxemos para aí abaixo.
E uma grande ambição.
E uma grande ambição. Vinhamos para uma terra de grandes oportunidades e ao chegar eu gostei logo. Gostei logo de clima maravilhoso, gostei imenso de tudo. Vinha de uma ilha muito pequena, cheguei aqui e encontrei-me com este grande continente e isto foi adorei, logo de começo. E foi assim a nossa vinda de lá para cá.
Eu cheguei aqui em 1973, a este país, e foi num domingo, ainda me lembro bem. Gostei, não fiquei nada surpreendido porque já tinha estado em Portugal continental, que é tão bonito como a cidade de São Francisco, mas de qualquer das maneiras gostei muito e 3 dias depois comecei a trabalhar na minha arte de estufador. Já comecei a fazer um ordenado superior ao do meu irmão. Fiquei logo pensando imediatamente que tinha que começar a formar uma casa minha. E assim o fiz. 7 semanas depois de estar cá, fui viver numa casa já sozinho, com a Carmina e os pequenos, e como ela já disse, logo em dezembro, 5 meses depois, a minha vida já estava toda direta, tínhamos $80 no banco, mas sempre com esta ambição de querer fazer fortuna. Depois consegui arranjar trabalho para trabalhar para 2 companhias. Trabalhava de uma da meia-noite às 8 da manhã, outra das 9 às 5h30, 6 horas da tarde. Com isso tudo, o que eu consegui foi ficar doente. Aos 31 anos comecei a ter problemas de coração. Ao ir ao médico, o médico disse que se eu continuasse a trabalhar da maneira que eu estava a trabalhar, que talvez tivesse mais 4 ou 5 anos de vida. E foi aí que me fez pensar, muito ao sério, e a minha vida, eu vim para casa depois de estar no médico, o médico tinha problemas de coração, já nessa altura me falava em operar o coração, mas no entanto não o fez, porque o Vitor fugiu. Fiquei muito tempo sem ir para os médicos e fiz uma dieta muito grande. É graças a Deus que eu consegui sobreviver com a ajuda da Carmina. Fizemos bem e foi aí que eu encontrei um dia a irmã Amélia, e ela envolveu-me muito na igreja. E é claro que a minha vida, ao querer encontrar a fortuna, encontrei a fortuna não foi no dinheiro, mas sim encontrei a fortuna, foi encontrar-me com Cristo um dia, num retiro que a gente fizemos de renovação, anos mais tarde. E a minha vida, a partir daí, transformou-se. Eu já fiquei um homem não preocupado com os dinheiros, mas sim mais preocupado com o serviço à comunidade e aos irmãos, onde dentro da comunidade que eu estou a viver em São Leão.
Se deseja ver toda a entrevista na sua completude, na sua totalidade, pode ver junto da página da web portuguesevoices.org e lá encontra a versão total. Portanto, a versão que aqui apresentamos do nosso programa é sempre uma versão abreviada, por causa da dimensão do nosso programa, mas a versão completa todos têm acesso através desta página da web, que está ligada com a página do YouTube portuguesevoices.org. If you want to watch the full version of the interview that you just listened to and watch it, you can see it in the webpage portuguesevoices.org. And there you can find the full extensive interview because during this program we don't have opportunity to show the full interview. Thank you very much and I hope that you enjoyed it. Espero que tenham gostado deste episódio e se assim o fizeram, carreguem no botão like ou follow dentro do Facebook Portuguese Voices, o que significa que permitem ter a informação mais rápida de quando há um novo episódio. If you like these episodes, just make sure that you press like and follow the Portuguese Voices, so you just option for the follow, which allows you to get updates when there is a new episode or new upcoming episode. So I hope that we'll see you next week. Espero que nos encontremos na próxima semana.